We as pilots were experiencing great gloom. We had only one thought: when will we get a better fighter so we can stop the bombers? The fact of the matter was that the only way to counteract the absolute superiority in sheer numbers that the Allies possessed was a technical superiority.
The Germans turned to a new technology, the jet fighter. Professor Willy Messerschmitt's top-secret project, the ME262, a twin-engine turbojet fighter whose performance will eclipse anything in the sky. Incredibly, the brilliant design has been on the drawing board for 4 years before it is seen as urgent.
By May 1943, I was able to fly the first jet fighter. This was a prototype. This was something completely new for me, and it was a really grandiose experience. This was the beginning of a completely new age, a new generation of aircraft, and a new technology.
The ME262, the fastest plane yet flown by man, is presented to Adolf Hitler. Germany will have an unbeatable fighter, but Hitler issues an astonishing order.
I was present in 1944, before the invasion, when Hitler was shown the Messerschmitt 262 at Innsbruck in East Prussia. It was very impressive, achieving about 510 miles per hour in level flight. Then Hitler asked Messerschmitt, "Can this plane carry bombs?" He answered, "Yes, mein Führer, a 500-pound bomb." "Good," Hitler said. "Then this is the Blitz bomber with which I will beat back the invasion." Then a struggle began to try to use this aircraft as a fighter, where it had enormous potential, instead of a bomber, for which it wasn't at all suited.
Hitler's decision to limit the use of the new jet is one of the costliest in the history of war. The ME262 fails as a bomber. In the last desperate months of the Third Reich, Hitler agrees to use the plane as a fighter. Galland is ordered to create an elite interceptor squadron. He turns to Johannes Steinhoff.
Galland turned to me and asked, "Would you like to form a jet fighter squadron? Tomorrow morning, then." I went to Brandenburg and formed the squadron. We got the planes from Bavaria and assembled them, and we began to fly them. This was flying in a new dimension. It was fabulous.
Walter Krupinski is one of the aces chosen by Steinhoff to fly the jets in combat.
Der Oberst Steinhoff, und der stand also auf der Fläche.
Colonel Steinhoff stood on the wing and said to me, "She flies just like any other bird, except it takes forever until you're up to speed, and you need just as long to lose speed when you want to land." That was all the instruction I had. I taxied over to the runway and took off. You had the feeling that the gods were shoving you skywards.
Germany's first jet fighter squadron is airborne. Allied pilots are in for a shock.
And this jet came down through our formation, and that's the first jet I'd ever seen in my life.
I flew right at them and wanted to shoot, but our closure rate was too high. I flew right through the formation without firing.
I saw this thing go by. It just went dashing through the formation, didn't even fire its guns. We couldn't do any combat with them because they were here and gone.
The high rate of closing speed was an advantage, but it was also a disadvantage because you closed on the formation so quickly that you only had a couple of seconds in which you were able to fire. The plane was superbly armed. By the end of the war, we had 12 rockets on each wing. You had to fly close to the bomber, so that at 1,000 meters you were sure that the 24 rockets would cover the entire length of the bomber. When the rockets were fired, the bomber was destroyed.
Although jets begin to take their toll of Allied bombers, only about 20 or 30 of the 1,400 jets produced are operational at any one time. Severe fuel shortages keep many of them grounded. Allied fighter pilots must hunt the nests of the new menace.
When the jets and rocket planes turned up, they went 500 or more miles an hour, we realized the only way we could catch them was on the ground.
Wenn wir starteten mit der 262,
From takeoff, it took the 262 almost 5 minutes to reach battle speed. American fighters would keep a lookout over the airfields and take advantage of this vulnerable moment when they knew they could get us.
We found an airfield with 2 jets on it, and I went down to take them out. We were very worried because we thought they could produce these planes very fast, and there was no way we escorting fighters could catch them.
The astonishing new technology, though a serious threat to the Allies, is a classic case of too little, too late. Even as German resistance collapses, General Galland's squadron fights to the end.
Das waren nicht die schlechtesten, das waren
These were selected pilots, and they fought to the last day. Until we destroyed our own planes, the Messerschmitt 262s, we blew them up in front of the American tanks. We didn't do this to win the war, or to gain better conditions for peace, or negotiate positions. No, we fought because we did have a superior weapon. Yes, we were faced with greater numbers, but we could still hold our own. We could not surrender before the German people while we still had these superior planes. This is the reason why this unit perished in flames.